When your life is over, what will you be remembered for? Now, that may be a weird question to ask, but I'm always fascinated by people's careers, be it athlete, painter, musician, director, actor, whatever. I find the milestones and accomplishments they are most remembered for are usually very arbitrary. Was Stairway to Heaven Zeppelin's best song? Or was Michael Jordan's infamous flu game the best example of his basketball skills? Or better yet, how about the Mona Lisa? Was that Da Vinci's best work with the paintbrush? It's hard to know these answers, but I do know people's careers can be overshadowed by a certain work, and it leaves a large body of their other works unnoticed, or for lack of better terms, underrated. On today's episode of Sloppy Horror Podcast, we are going to discuss one of those underrated bodies of work from one of my favorite directors, Wes Craven's 1991 classic, The People Under the Stairs. Craven's oeuvre reads like an all-star dream team roster. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, all of them, Last House of the Left, Hills Have Eyes, Serpent and the Rainbow. With just these few I've mentioned, I guess it's understandable to see why People Under the Stairs isn't as talked about, but it deserves every conversation it gets. This is one of my favorite movies, and if you haven't seen it, you should do it immediately. You can thank me later. Craven was the king of meta horror. His ability to make terrifying films that would gracefully nod and tease the horror genre without being too satirical is matched by no one else. The People Under the Stairs hit theaters November 1st, 1991, with the smallest budget of $6 million, and the film grossed just under $32 at the box office. The story focuses around its 13-year-old protagonist, Fool. Fool lives in a poverty-stricken neighborhood raised by a sick mom. He is eventually duped into committing a little crime when he is convinced by two older family friends that he can help his sick mom if they could manage to break into the home of the neighborhood's biggest slumlords and steal all the riches. The slumlord and his wife, who you eventually find out to be his sister, own most of the properties and liquor stores in the ghetto, and aside from their incestuous relationship and profiting off the poor, have some much deeper secrets hiding in their closet, or under the stairs to be exact. When Fool and the gang actually get in the house, they find the couple had been collecting and keeping teenagers in their basement, later to learn they were trying to find their idea of a perfect child, whatever the hell that means. This movie is filled with Robin Hood tones and tackles serious issues without being too political or full of itself. It became a cult classic amongst horror fans, and even more so has resonated positively with black audiences, seeing the film's protagonist to be an African American who had the strength and had the smarts to outwit the bad guys in the end. Not sure if you've ever seen a horror movie, but unfortunately that's not how all black people are portrayed in them, so this is one of the few. Another testament to Craven, if you ask me. His legacy still lives on after his death, and I encourage you to search all of his works if you haven't seen them. Red Eye is another one I must recommend, very underrated. So, without further ado, I bring you our take on The People Under the Stairs.
Boom! Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I'm your producer, Ozark Mark. And
Boom.
over here across from me is your host with the most.
That's right.
The man of the hour, the man that you all love to hear, the horror nerd himself, Christian Ramey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome
intro?
to the
Was that
Sloppy
good?
Horror Podcast.
Was that good? Did I do it good?
You did it very good. I
You
liked
should
it.
probably do it anyway because it's probably not going to be good.
I liked it.
Okay, we'll keep it then.
Yeah, you keep it. That's a good intro, Mark.
Boom!
Yeah. Boom! You just got to feel it from in there. So, boys and girls, if you are joining us today, I am very pumped up because it's one of our favorite movies. Ozark Mark and I have talked about this movie for a long, long time, and that movie is no other than The People Under the Stairs.
Ah, The People Under the Stairs.
Ozark Mark told me today, he says, do you want to make an episode today? Because today is my birthday. And I said, hell yeah, I want to talk about The People Under the Stairs on my birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. How old are you now?
I am 32 years old, 1989.
Wow.
Yes,
That's a very boring birthday number, isn't it?
it's very boring.
Once you hit 21, like every birthday after that is just a celebration. Like, hey, you're 1 year closer to dying. Good for you.
Yeah, it's that age where like people are like judging your life actions. Like, oh, you got a family now. Oh,
Well, you're
you-
right in the middle there, too, because old people still think you're young.
Mhm.
Ah, yeah, young buck. It's young Thundercats out here.
But my teenage kids laugh
No,
at me.
you're completely uncool to anybody under the age of like 22.
Oh yeah.
You're
Yeah,
no
I'm a
longer
nerd.
cool. So you're right there in the weird middle there.
But it's fun. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm happy to be talking about scary movies and drinking bourbon. Mark got me this bourbon for my birthday. Okay, I don't know where he got it. I don't. It was from Kentucky, just like myself. Okay, he knows that's the kind of bourbon I like, but he might have found a guy down there. I don't know what the fuck he did, but he came here with a bottle of bourbon, and now I'm drinking it, feeling good.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday. But anyway, we're talking about the people under the stars.
If you haven't noticed,
I can't stop saying it like that either.
he's said that like that for 15 years. Ozark Mark said that like that.
I'm sorry, dude.
No, I
can't
love
stop.
it. Don't be sorry.
But the thing is, you know what the funny thing is when I show it to people, I will say it. Like, that's the first time I'll say it. It's like, you want to watch the people under the stars?
You know,
And it's funny, my little brother and sisters, that this was like by the way, this movie is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, honestly. It's very underrated as well. But this movie is also perfect because it's kind of bittersweet because it's rated R, okay? This movie is still rated R, and I forget that this movie is rated R sometimes. Because there's nothing really, like, bad in it. Like, there's nothing, like, really sexual or anything in it. So
just
I thought
undertones.
this is my go-to movie for anybody who's younger as their, like, first, like, horror movie. Because it's not nothing really scary, nothing really over the top.
Nope.
But it's still got that element in there, and it's still got some things. So it's like, adult jokes and cartoons. It's the same premise. All the cartoons we had growing up, all the cartoons our parents had growing up, all that, they all had adult references in there.
So I definitely agree with you 100% on that. And sometimes in a movie, there's a villain that's so human and evil where it's not that it's not frightening, it's more creepy, but the bad guy isn't the good guy in this. So, Jason, Freddy, Michael, or a horror flick you're watching, you're going to watch your guy tear some kids up. The kids are the bad people.
Right.
But in this movie, you have the protagonist taking down evil people, which, it makes it less scary because it makes you more brave, as weird as that sounds. Like, you're like, yeah, fuck these people. You guys, like... So if you're unfamiliar with this movie, spoiler alert, as all episodes are, what happens in this is you have two grown adult robbers. They bring along a kid with them. They're all poor. They're trying to rob this house. And the people that live in this house, they kind of own the ghetto. Like, they own the liquor stores. They own all the projects and all the houses. And there are these, like, creepy old white people who you find out that are brother and sister eventually. I mean, they got a real weird setup going on. So these robbers break into this house to try to steal some gold coins that they hear they have. Well, once they break into the house, the people come home and they can't get out of the house. And they start to realize there's weird shit all over this house because they're trying to hide, and they're finding out there's things in the walls, people, or what they don't know. It could be people, ghosts, whatever. And then the main character, his name is Fool. He's like a 13, 14-year-old boy, right? So he's the kid they drag along. He eventually finds his way into the basement, and that's where he finds that these people have...
People under the stairs.
The people under the stairs. They have a group of people, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 people, teenagers.
There's a lot of people under those stairs.
Yes, and they're locked under these stairs in not great conditions. So the movie's more creepy than anything. There's some great, great acting in this movie. And this movie was written and directed by Wes Craven. And Wes Craven... he's my favorite horror director, hands down. And, I don't mean just to pander him because I like this movie. Obviously, I love Elm Street. But he had such a good job of doing, like, the classic American horror. Think of, like, Scream or Nightmare on Elm Street. Both of these movies, you got, like, the boyfriend coming through the window. Very innocent, like something you can believe. Very Americana-style movies. And this movie is very believable, too. This is a Wes Craven movie that doesn't have any dream sequences or like flashbacks or anything crazy. It's just very in the moment, a very real situation with real people. And I think this is, even though, like you said, very underrated and not always talked about when you hear Wes Craven, I put it in his tippy top. I'm not saying it's his best, but it's some of his best work to write and direct. And it got mixed reviews, but mostly positive. It's ranked high on Rotten Tomatoes, which is...
I don't see how somebody really can not like this movie. I mean, this movie has a little bit of everything in it. I mean, what more can you ask for? It's got comedy, it's got drama, it's got fear. It hits all the emotion, and it's such a creative story to it hold your interest pretty much throughout the entire movie. Because you don't guess what's happening, and the characters also make it. Just every character in this movie fits.
Yes.
Like, there's no character that seems out of place or it shouldn't be there or they forced it in. Like, it's all one easy flowing. All comes together. It all makes sense.
Yes, I agree completely.
And I mean, there's things in there that just make you go like, what is going on, that hold your attention? Like, every time I see clips of this movie, like if I see a clip randomly on YouTube, like I'm watching it and I'm watching it like I'm watching it for the first time again, because there's so much. Like, oh, there's a kid in the wall.
Yeah. Trying to find out the answers. What the hell's going on with these creepy people?
That's a thing that holds true to everybody, is everybody wants to find answers about something, and this movie has it.
Yes.
Mr. Raimi.
So, maybe, I mean, a lot of it's just theory. I mean, film theory is something that there's college courses on, and everybody analyzes something, whether the director had the intentions to make it that way or not. People can kind of... So there's many different things in this movie that you can kind of play on to see where he's coming from. Even with the intro, how I hinted, the main thing, you got poor people, okay? I mean, honestly, black people love this horror movie. This is a black people horror movie. I mean, it really is. Every black person I know loves this horror movie. I mean, this is a great movie, but it deals a lot with gentrification, kind of like... and whether Wes Craven intended to do this or not, but it's a very Robin Hood tale of fuck these people screwing us over. This was also kind of the end of Reagan. Some people compared this couple to like Nancy and Ronald Reagan, living large,
Yeah.
making money, hoarding money while people are starving around them. While you got people starving in your basement, but you're hiding money in the other part of your house, So it's a very big play on that, and a reflection of kind of the economy at that moment and how people in the ghettos and people in poverty were dealing with shit. So poor people like this movie. That's why I like this fucking movie. It's, fuck you to the people that are holding people down.
But that always holds up, no matter how long you go back or how farther in the future we make it, until an asteroid comes and takes us all out.
Yes.
It's going to be the poor fucking over the rich is always going to be hit you in the heart. Everybody, no matter who you are, you're going to root for it. It's going to be...
Ozark Mar, who died on the Titanic? The poor people, the low
Yeah.
class. The high class people stayed alive. They had the money.
I don't know where you're going with this here.
What I'm telling you, Ozark Mark, is the poor people are always going to dislike the rich people who stay up there and don't reach out a hand and their lifeboats that could have fit more people in them. That's the way it is. So, very much a battle on class, this movie is. And Wes Craven was always really kind of cool with that. And honestly, he had a couple, black horror films, dude. He had Serpent and the Rainbow. He had Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy. Wes Craven just had an interesting kind of view of the world, even with Elm Street, Last House on the Left, all these movies, The Hills Have Eyes. Did you ever see his movie Red Eye, Mark? I don't know if you saw this. It's where Cillian Murphy, he's up on the plane with Rachel McAdams, and then, once they're in the air, he sees her in the airport, and he's all handsome dude, hello, miss, how are you? He was nice to her, and then they had a layover, and he, bought her a drink. He's a super nice, handsome guy. They get up in the air, and they get on the plane, and he's like, oh, what a coincidence. My seat's right next to yours. And she's all like, thinking he's all cool. And then they get in the air, and he's like, yeah, I got to kill her outside your dad's house. She works at this hotel, and pretty much he was like, look, if you don't switch one of your guests' rooms, it was a high-profile guest, the politician. He's like, if you don't move his room to over here so they can assassinate him, I'm going to kill your fucking dad. because she's like the manager of this hotel. Very good movie. It's Wes Craven. Not a lot of people know about it. Also,
I don't know about that, but it sounds interesting, and I'm gonna have to watch it.
Also a sleeper. Definitely do an episode on that movie. Great movie. Very much Americana. Dad comes through and kind of helps out. I'm not ruining anything, but it's a dad-daughter kind of thing. Very cool connection. Last House on the Left, you get the parents rising up and killing their daughters, attackers. He's just got this family thing going on. The whole reason why this young man in this movie is willing to go steal gold coins from these rich people is because his mom's dying of a disease, and he doesn't know what to do.
Yep.
Like, that's kind of really fucked up. It's cool, like, that there's satire and there's funny parts in this movie. All of the craziness in the movie, like, the characters are a little bit animated and they're fun, but the issues they're dealing with are, like, very real issues. Like, that's very real shit that everybody can identify with.
And
so
I think it makes it a perfect mix for this movie, though. You got the real, like, serious issues, but then you have the characters being animated and doing all this weird, funny stuff. I mean, it reminds me, it's like, this movie reminds me a lot like a Home and Alone break-in.
Yes.
I swear, like, all the things that are happening, all the lines, their animatedness, their quirkiness, like the rich couples like Marv and Harry.
Yes.
And, fools like Macaulay Culkin just going through this house, like, trapping them and getting away from them. It's hilarious.
I love Macaulay Culkin. He's got a good podcast, too, called Bunny Ears. Listen to that. It's actually pretty good.
Who?
Macaulay Culkin.
Who's Macaulay Culkin?
From Home Alone.
Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah.
Say it again.
Macaulay Culkin.
Shut the fuck up.
You'll never say it again, right?
I won't.
Macaulay Culkin. No, I love the Home Alone movies. I love Macaulay Culkin, too. Honestly, his podcast, Bunny Ears, is pretty good. His brothers are good actors, too. His brother, Rory, he was the dude in Scream 4. He ended up being a killer with the chick. Mm-hmm. He was good. He was really good. So, I do want to talk about, because people will probably kick our ass or kick my ass if I don't mention, if I don't burp. If I don't mention...
Can you not burp in an episode?
I'm sorry. I get
so
worked up.
vile.
So, the bad guys in this movie, that couple that own everything in the ghetto, and they have this house, these people work great together, and they're very creepy. You find out they're brother and sister, and they're banging. At one point, this dude is in this house hunting down the person in this, a character named Roach. He's a kid that kind of escaped the basement, and he's been running the walls. And they call them the Robusons. The name is like mentioned once or twice, but in the credits, these actors are listed as man and woman. They call each other mommy and daddy throughout it, but I'm not going to call them mommy or daddy, so I'm going to say man or woman. But they worked so well. They were very funny, but like scary.
Yeah.
They had possession of a child that was like 13. It was a girl, and I guess she wasn't bad yet, so she hadn't gone to the basement, and they've been keeping her. And there's some real weird, like, sexual undertones throughout this whole thing. Like, this lady gives her this girl like a super hot fucking bath and like wash off the sin. Really like weird shit, but not in your face. Like I said, at one point the dude's like hunting this guy in the walls in this like all leather BDSM suit. It's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
But they worked so well together. The guy's name is Everett McGill, I believe, and the lady's name is Wendy Robbie. Okay,
Yeah.
These two actors.
They were on a different show together, weren't they?
Correct. It was called Twin Peaks, and that was the David Lynch stuff. He made like Eraserhead. He made real weird shit, but he has a really strong cult following. But these two played like a couple together on that show, and that's why their chemistry is so good. Mm-hmm. It works so well. I mean, they're very fucking scary.
Yeah.
Even though there's like a lot of comedy and satire to it, they're very creepy people. Like that lady has a stare.
Oh. Yes. Yes,
and
she does.
Doing research on this lady, Wendy Robbie, the fucking actress. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing, or Roby. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct.
What would it be another way to pronounce it?
I don't know.
How is it spelled?
Robie.
Robie.
So it could be Roby or Robbie.
or Robé?
Robé.
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 Wende Robé.
What's her first name?
Wende.
Wendy Robé.
You got it.
It's
So-
Wendy Robé. I don't care. Not Roby. Robé.
So I found out that this lady
Who?
lives in our fucking city.
Who is it?
Wendy Robert. Wendy Robert, she lives in our city of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Wendy Robé. She really does live in our city?
Yeah, and
No, is she from our city or does she live in the
she
city?
lives in our city.
Is she from it?
No, she's from California.
Oh, well,
And
that's
she
not
lives
as
in
cool.
Cincinnati, Ohio. I want to find this lady and interview her for the show.
Yes.
And be like, dude, you're a great lady. You are
You
great.
have to call her up and go, excuse me, Mr. Wendy
Wendy
Robé.
Robert, I host high-profile horror podcast.
Wendy Robé.
Wendy, are you familiar with YouTube? I have television
You
program.
know the tubule.
Yeah, so this lady's from Cincinnati. Pretty fucking cool.
No
All right,
way, that's
hometown
cool.
representing.
Mm-hmm.
These guys were great together. Like you said, they're on Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So all the David Lynch fans out there, they know what I'm talking about. They like that stuff. They like all that kind of stuff. That's what they like.
Wendy Robé.
Yeah, Wendy Robert.
Okay, so what's some of your favorite parts of this movie here, Christian?
So, Ozark Mark, I'll tell you one of the funniest fucking parts of this movie. So,
Can I guess what it is?
yes. Guess.
I'm trying to think because there's a lot
There's a lot
of good, funny moments. Like if you and me watch this movie together, we're gonna laugh hysterically for at least half of it.
Oh, yeah.
Just because we laugh at parts that aren't supposed to be normal. Oh, I know which one it is. It has to be. Now, this is another thing. This is a Home Alone-ish type scene. Is it the electricity in the doorknob?
That's exactly the scene I'm talking about, Mark. So, for the people who are listening, not familiar, or maybe you are, I'll rewalk
Look,
you through the steps.
If you're not familiar with this movie, this is like my highest, out of any episode we've done, like this is my highest recommendation of a movie for you to watch. I mean, this
Yes.
is my favorite movie to, if I say, have you ever seen The People Under the Stairs? And they say no, like I'm excited to show them because I know that they're going to enjoy this movie.
You better watch that movie. Seriously, it's one of the best movies out there. So there's a scene where, like I said, they break into this house, right? And the people who live there are not home at the moment, right? So there's this classic horror scene where they pull in the driveway and they're, oh no, what do we do? So they're scrambling around trying to get out. So they get into the main room, okay? And they see the front door, and the kid just runs up to it, and you think they're going to escape. There's no evidence leading up to what the events that happened. They don't give you any kind of precursor. So I guess for security, these people have electrified their doorknob from the inside. This young man goes to grab the doorknob, and he's like, and he falls over and passes out. It's so fucking random, so hilarious.
It's out of nowhere.
Oh,
too.
dude, I'm telling you, it makes me laugh every time I watch it. Like for some reason I forget about it every time because the flow of the movie, it works great in the movie, but the flow of the movie, you really aren't expecting a comedic part right there.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it was intended to be comedic, but it is. It is
It's
funny
very
as shit.
comedic to me, at least. It is hilarious.
What about you, Ozark Mark? Do you have favorite parts of this movie?
I got a ton of favorite parts in this movie. Off the top of my head, it sucks because I haven't watched this recently. I think the last time I watched it was a couple years ago.
That's okay.
So I'm not going to remember
It lives
all
in
of the
you.
scenes. There's one scene where the man, like, I think he shot, or no, he kills the one of the robbers that the kid's with.
So was it the black dude, Ving Rhames?
Yes, Ving Rhames.
Yes.
Now is he the same guy that's in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was him.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. He's a great actor.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's great. But yeah, he just kills him. and he's running around the woman like, oh, I got him, I got him, I got him. And he's like doing some weird dance with a gun, like all proud of himself. And I just laugh every time because I relate to that so much because that's how I feel like when I fix something in the house and I go into it having no idea what the hell to do. But I end up fixing it, so I go over to like Cassandra. I'm like, hey, I fixed it.
Honey, look what I did.
Look what I did.
Go ahead, try to open that door. It'll close right away. Check it out. Watch. Do it. All right, I'll stand on this side.
I've done that so many times, like just to show my work. Like I installed like the toilet downstairs in the basement in our old house.
Go shit in there.
No, I told her, I was like, look, toilet's all in there. And I flushed it just to show it worked.
See the yard? I cut the back pattern. I took the brush back a little further. You see that? I lowered the blades about an inch.
There's that. It's where also when they're when they're first going into the house and they're starting to break in, and the black robber dude like he busts open that bookcase.
Yes.
He goes, I just popped this house cherry.
Ving Rhames had such like a serious, even though he was funny, he was like trying to teach the young man like how to rob, and he was very serious, and it was like kind of fucked because you felt the kid. He was like, this dude's like, what are you, chicken shit? And the kid's like, fuck, you know, he's really trying. Mm-hmm. So, and the first dude to go in, the white robber, Spence was the guy's name.
That's also the guy in what's the one with Wesley Snipes and Ice-T?
No,
famous.
That's not him.
What is it?
That's not him.
That's not him? He's not the other detective in that movie that I'm
Nah, that dude, you're talking about Judd Nelson. That guy looks similar to him.
What's the movie that I'm thinking of?
New Jack City.
He's not in New Jack City?
Nah.
Are you sure?
So the dude you're thinking of is actually the dude from the Breakfast Club. You remember like the bad dude?
Okay,
dude
that's all right. Yeah,
he grew out
right.
a little goatee, and but they do look similar.
Yeah,
that's why I knew who you were talking about.
That's like the dude who's in Mighty Ducks versus the dude who's in
Emilio Estevez.
Emilio Estevez, and who's the dude who's in Back to the Future?
Michael J. Fox.
Why can't I think of their names right now? I don't know, but those dudes look similar too.
Yes. You know what's funny about Emilio Estevez? So Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, they're brothers. Their dad is Martin Sheen, right?
Yeah.
But Emilio Estevez went with his mom's maiden name. Sounded better for his acting career.
Yeah.
And I was like, Emilio Estevez. And then I was like, well, what would have been the other way? It would have been the funniest name in the fucking world. It's like, it's one word. So let me give it to you. Emilio Sheen. Emilio Sheen here.
You did.
Emilio Sheen.
Emilio Sheen.
And the award goes to Emilio Sheen. It's like a Japanese cartoon character.
Yeah, that definitely would have not worked. Estevez is way better.
The Mighty Duck Man. Yes.
Speaking of Mighty Ducks, the actor who plays Fool, which is Brandon Adams.
Yeah,
right?
Brandon Adams.
Yeah, he was in Mighty Ducks.
And The Sandlot.
Wait, he was in Sandlot?
The only black kid in Sandlot. Which, let's be honest. Like, let's just call, a movie fair. Obviously, you and I, the Sloppy Horror Podcast has no judgment whatsoever because we're weird as shit and we're the last people to judge you. But let's just say it's 1960s. Do you think they have a black pitcher on the team in the 1960s? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't know if times
I don't know. I wasn't alive
as,
there. How the hell am I supposed to know?
I don't think times were as relaxed. So it was just an interesting dynamic to the movie that I wonder if anybody ever thought about. You know what else about Sandlot? What's really sad? You know what the part like where they tell what happened to all the people, like, Benny grew up to be a baseball player, and like, they're telling how they all ended.
Yeah.
They talked about the one dude and they were like, yeah, Bertram got really into the 60s and no one ever saw him again. You're like, ow, that hurt my fucking heart. He's not even a real guy. And I'm like, like you just thought of his life, like,
It could have been awesome. You never know. Nobody knows what happened to him.
I know.
It could be a good thing.
I know, but
You were just a negative
seemed
Nancy over
if it wasn't though, it seemed if they were kind of trying to paint it in like a drug way. So I don't think he had a good little life.
You don't know that, man.
He could have, yeah,
He could have went to Mexico and never came back.
yeah, or Nam and died. One or the other.
Or he's working at your local convenience store. I don't know. Okay.
Yes.
There's a million possibilities here.
Mr. Adams is a great actor. Okay, and he's Jesse Hall in Mighty Ducks. Honestly, I always call this dude Jesse Hall when I see him because that's just like the first thing that pops to mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he really is a great actor. He sells it in this movie.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's very believable. Like I said, when you had Ving Rhames kind of adding the pressure, because he's a good kid. So I will lay out at the beginning of this movie, they're like flipping out tarot cards. And the older sister, Fool's older sister, is flipping them. And they flip it to Fool. It's a tarot card. Now, my interpretation of Fool, you can either be like somebody that knows right from wrong and then you do it anyways, or somebody that's like naive to the world. You're a fool, you don't know the world yet. And I think that's kind of what they were aiming for this young man and his name. So it added like a cool aspect to it all, that his name was Fool. I don't know, it was kind of neat. Do you like that? You like his name was Fool?
I do like the fact that his name was Fool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though. Like, you know,
Every time I hear the word fool, though, I think of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Watch where you're going, you fool!
Stupid dog. It's a great show.
Very good show. We'll do a whole episode on that. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Anyway, another good thing about this movie, Christian Ramey, is unlike some of the movies that we talked about here in the past, here at the Sloppy Horror Podcast, The People Under the Stairs really holds up better than most movies that I've seen that are older. Like this movie, when you watch this movie, it was dated in the 90s. So
91.
you'll see some 90s decor and all that stuff. Like obviously it's an older movie, but the whole story and the whole situation still hold up to this day. And I think this is like the easiest movie for anybody to enjoy because the story and all the situations and everything that's going on still holds up. That's like the key here. Like this movie is timeless.
Can I tell you something that pisses me off?
What?
So, this is the Sloppy Horror Podcast, and I hold my opinion. And I continue to hold my opinion. Ozark Mark may not share my opinions, but I'm not a huge fan of Jordan Peele. The horror movies that he's done, like This Is Us or Get Out, and he also, in my opinion, ruined The Twilight Zone when they just redid it. It was pretty annoying. But in my opinion, he's kind of bought his way into horror. I think a lot of these old directors we're talking about, they had like shoestring budgets and they did everything they could because they were passionate about the genre, yada, yada. I can go on and on. Well, anyways, apparently this movie is supposed to be remade and he's going to be at the fucking helm of it. So get ready for some kind of woke, not funny. It's going to not be funny and it's going to be very woke, I imagine. And if it is funny, it's not going to be in the same kind of funny.
Okay. Listen, stop right there. Okay,
I know, it upsets
there's something
me
that needs to
too.
be said right here. Okay, stop fucking ruining movies by remaking them.
You know he's redoing Candyman, right?
Stop it.
Yeah, well, here's and I
Movies-
love Candyman.
Dude, movies do not need to be remade to be relevant. Just you ruin them.
Yes. You
ruined
could do
them.
what the Friday the 13th did. So you
That's-
come out with a new movie. It's not necessarily a remake of any sort, even though it kind of brushes the subject. You can continue the franchise, but if you're going to abruptly change what it is. Now, I haven't seen Candyman, so it may be sweet. But from what I'm seeing, it's very much going to be a racially tense situation, and that's fine. I appreciate if those are the kind of movies you want to make, but please don't make that to like Candyman. Because yes, Candyman was the son of a slave who was a ghost who haunted, like he was murdered because he had a relations with a white woman, okay? But as he's coming back as a ghost, like looking for people, saying his name in the mirror and then killing people and looking for a girl that looked like his wife, very Dracula-esque tale, there was the story in there, but it wasn't all wrapped up in some racially tense thing. It was Candyman. He was just killing somebody, and he was trying to get this chick that kind of looked like his wife. You know what I mean? He wanted to be
who
with this
doesn't
chick.
want to find a hot piece of ace and kill somebody?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's like the peanut butter and jelly to your life here.
So it's us talking. So we're very sensitive to the situation, anybody's situation. I just don't want you to take an existing title and make it something new. I don't want you to take Beetlejuice and make it a movie about child starvation. You know what I mean? That's not what I want you to do. If you're gonna redo Beetlejuice, make Beetlejuice. Like just do that. There's a part of me that likes. Like even like with the Halloweens, I don't like these newer ones, so to speak, but maybe somebody that's 14 years old loves it and it's keeping the franchise alive. Maybe this movie makes that kid go back and watch the original. So I like that they stay around. There's always going to be another Batman movie eventually. There's always going to be the legends never die, not to quote Sandlot, but legend.
How ironic is that?
Exactly.
But there are some movies. Okay, there's some movies that you can remake. You do make a good point. And some remakes I like.
I think that he's just going to completely remake it, and I don't know. It could be really good. See, the one thing I will do though is I will totally come on next episode and eat my shorts if the movie's fucking great. So, Get Out, This Is Us, all these movies, even the Halloween movies. I'm the first person to see them. I'm watching them premiere night. I'm giving these people money to. I will watch your film. It is a horror movie. I'm just a little critiquey. Now, would I rather watch, probably his Candyman versus, The Notebook or something? Absolutely. But I understand the climate that we're in, and, I just don't want it to be something that it wasn't originally. Now, if you want to make Get Out and This Is Us, that's totally cool, because those are new movies, and that's your own concept. That's your own fucking movie. I don't care what you make it about. They didn't it just wasn't frightening to me. Like, I'm not saying the story. I totally got the story, and that could be. It just wasn't like, holy fuck, I'm scared. It was very M. Night Shyamalan to me. He's a very new M. Night Shyamalan to me.
Well, that dude needs to go jump in a river, the M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
You made The Sixth Sense. That was it.
No, he did The Village, The Sixth Sense. He did Signs.
Yeah, all of them.
They're decent. Now he has a little following now. He did the Switch movie more recently with that what the fuck is his name? James McAvoy, and he played that dude that was bald, and he had all the different personalities, and he turned into the Beast.
Oh yeah, that's that ties into Bruce Willis, who's the
Mr. Glass and shit.
Oh yeah, that guy cracked me up. He's like, I got a hot dog. I ate a hot dog. But that was. I actually enjoyed those two.
So
I just don't like his twists. Like his twists are never good.
And I very much think that's what Jordan Peele loves. Now, what I will say about Jordan Peele is I love his go watch Key and Peele on YouTube or on Comedy Central, wherever. Dude, they are some funny motherfuckers, dude. Like, I hold my ribs. They're great comedians. I'm just a little critiquey if you get your way into horror, which I'm allowed to be. That's what this is. It's nothing to do with him as a person. I love his comedy. I think he's super funny. I just think he has a style of horror film that doesn't necessarily, it's not in my wheelhouse. I'm very much a slasher, campy slasher, maybe a little psychological thriller. I like that kind of, but not to that level, not to super twisty level. But who knows? I'll give him a chance, man. I mean, I'm still going to go see his movies opening night, and I'm hoping that I go see Candyman, and I'm like, dude, this is fucking awesome. This is awesome.
Sure, as long as you do it right.
Yeah, man, that's all it is. Just please don't make it something that it's not.
But like I said, like Candyman is something that I can see you can probably remake that because there's not much to it. I guess you could say. Like, I mean, you can. It's hard to fuck it up.
Yeah, I think they could do it as long as it's not crazy woke.
Now, when you're gonna try and remake The People Under the Stairs, I don't think you can. You can't capture the chemistry of all these people had, and all this. Even Roach. Mm-hmm. Roach was one of the best characters in the movie. No, we're not making fun of him because he has a learning disability.
No, he actually has tongue.
Haven't it? Shh, please.
His tongue was cut off.
I'm going to say that if you let me fucking say it. Shut up. I can't work like this. But, no, we're not making fun of him because he has special needs. No. Making fun of that because that's how he talks because they cut his tongue out. The see no evil, hear no evil thing. Like, he has no tongue, and he lives in the walls. Which is hilarious to me that they haven't solved this problem yet. Like, they just allow this kid to live in the walls.
Well, he's shifty. You know, you can't catch him.
You can't catch him, though. He's a little quick son of a bitch.
Well, he did catch him.
Well, eventually, but, we're not... But, Roach he's one of the most lovable characters in it because he's there he first, he finds him first in the basement and he tries to help Fool, but Fool, like, ain't having it. Scared of him at first, and you find out, like, it's cool. He's with Alice, the girl, the little girl. So then he becomes, like, another hero there.
Do you know the actor's name that played Roach?
What's it start with?
Roach. I'm trying to think.
Sean Whalen.
It's Sean Whalen. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Ozark Mark. So here's how I'm going to go on a little bit of a sidebar, but even about Roach, the guy who played him, Sean Whalen. So there are a lot of people who are not a fan of Rob Zombie's horror films. I am because I kind of like the slasher or whatever, and that's totally fine. Like how I wasn't a fan of Peel. If you have opinions of why you don't like Rob Zombie, that's totally fine. I love the conversation to hear why people do and don't like certain things. But
well, that's the beauty of it because anything that is creative is solely based on opinion.
Yep.
So please understand that. I love it. I think it's hilarious how people try to get into arguments, like let's say over music.
Yes.
And they say something's garbage. Like I'll catch myself saying it too. That's just because I don't like it. Mm-hmm. Like nothing sucks. It's just you don't like it.
Yeah, someone
like,
else likes it.
Same thing with movies. Like that movie sucks. Like no, somebody actually really likes that movie. It's just that you don't like it. It's solely based on opinion. There's no best or greatest movies of all time. It's solely based on opinion. But I still like to put them on labels like that. For instance, The People Under the Stairs. It's one of my favorite greatest movies of all time.
It is great. Well, the thing I'm saying about Robert Zombert is...
Stop doing that.
Robert Zombert has...
Robert Zombert.
He does something really well, and I'm not sure if everyone notices it. So the people that aren't a fan of Rob Zombie, maybe you don't know this about him or his movies, but I encourage you, even if you don't watch the movies or maybe you've seen one and don't like them, look up, do a little Wikipedia or IMDb, look up these movies and look up the cast inside of his movies. Every fucking character in his movies is from a previous horror film. Every one of them. Every one of them. Every one of them. It's so impressive, okay? And why this comes up is because Sean Whalen, Roach, the character who plays this, he's in 2 of Rob Zombie's movies, okay? So he's in the Halloween 2 remake he had. He was like thrown through a windshield. And then he was in 3 from Hell.
Is that the
No, not that guy. Not that guy.
I was going to say, it doesn't look like him.
No. But then he is also in 3 from Hell. 3 from Hell or Devil's Rejects. I'm not sure which one it was. I think he was the dude that like Sherry Moon Zombie saw outside by the ice machine, the Coke machine, and he had like the sombrero and the mustache on. That was him. So
no way.
Yeah. So just... if you're not a fan of Rob Zombie, please just look at his cat and you can give the man a pat on the back because he really tries his hardest to get people who know horror. I mean, even like, let's just say Halloween, the first one that he did, he had Dee Wallace as fucking Mrs. Strode. Okay. That's Cujo, E.T. I mean, dude, the list goes on and on with her. But all of these people are horror actors and actresses. It's really fucking nuts. How even Halloween 2, you remember the nurse? You know, you have Octavia Spencer. She got murdered really bad. The black nurse that got like stabbed 500 times. And then the white nurse, that was, oh fuck, what's her name? I forget her name, but she played Stretch in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. She was like the radio host. All these people he has, he really, I'm just very impressed with it. And just from a production aspect, and then as a horror fan, I really nod the cap to him in the way that he casts his movies. It's incredible. I mean, if you have like one or two people in a movie, it's like, oh, that's cool, man. Dude, he has like fucking 15, 20 people from horror movies. He has Malachi from Children of the Corn. Even, you know, so you have Dr. Loomis in the new Halloweens. Not new, not the newest, but his Halloweens. Dr. Loomis in those movies. That's Michael McDowell, the dude. He played in Clockwork Orange. He was the main character. It's fucking incredible, man. It's just to me, it's really strange to me that people don't like him, but everybody does have personal taste.
It also helps the fact that you recognize, like for you, like you have horror people in a horror movie, so it seems more like a horror movie, if that makes sense.
Yes, man. Yes, it's incredible.
It's the feeling of it while you're watching is so much different when you have horror people in a horror movie. Makes it look more like a horror movie.
Even your man Joe Grizzly. I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch. He was in Dawn of the Dead. Like all these people were from old movies, man. So he was in they put him in Lords of Salem too. That was pretty. I actually liked that one a lot. That one got mixed reviews, but I thought that one was pretty decent. And I like his wife as an actress. I like Sherry Moon Zombie. I think she's attractive. I always have, just because she's a little crazy. But I like her. I don't know. Let's just say I grew up in a part of town, you know, where people tend to be a little trashy. We'll say that nicely. So I love that kind of like
no, you like trash.
That trashy hillbilly horror.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love that kind of just hillbilly evil shit. I love the whole thing, and that's probably why some people don't like it. But it's neat.
Tell me there's nothing sexier on a woman than like a trailer park kind of accent.
Oh yeah, the Jamie Lee Presley or whatever her name was.
Got a little bit of that in her 'cause she grew up in a trailer park, and there's some words or phrases like when she gets into depending on feelings, like her trailer park trash.
Would it help if you went back to thinking I was your sister?
Anyways,
so
no, my turn to say so. So
okay. Well, that was my tidbit about Roach. Now you know something.
I do know something. Speaking of knowing things.
What about it? Do you know stuff?
I'm about to hit a button here. It's going to play this.
Oh!
What do you know?
Bango bongo, what do you know here? We're talking about the people under the stairs.
We are talking about the people under the stairs. Let me tell you something that I know real quick, Ozak Mark.
What do you know about the people under the stairs?
Okay, so what we have here, sometimes in the what do you know, we try to sprinkle a little bit of flavor to you, maybe that you know, may or may not know. So, something that I do know, this is kind of a production error. It's a little glitch in the movie, so to speak.
Oh, do go on, please.
Okay, so there is a part. So when the burglars go into the house, the first burglar, Spence, he goes in there dressed up like an electric guy. He goes missing, right? The other two end up making their way in there trying to find him. The little boy goes down the stairs. He finds out that Spence is dead. He's laying on his stomach. He's dead. On the ground, he has like a lighter and a clipboard, okay? So, fool, he grabs that lighter and clipboard, okay? And he starts to run up the stairs because he gets scared, okay? It jumps scenes a couple times while he's going up the stairs because he falls and goes back up. When he goes back up, the items switch hands. So the clipboard and the lighter are in one hand. They flip-flop hands as he's going up the stairs. And you can only notice it if you're paying a close eye. But, for my fans out there who love this movie, next time you watch it, you're going to notice that. Bam, magic on the screen. Switch hands.
He did a little switcheroo there. He did a little David Blaine magic with his hand here.
Boom, how does he do it? I don't know.
You never know.
Seems satanic to me. It's that's sacrilegious. You're doing magic.
You're doing dark magic in a dark place, in a dark basement, on dark stairs.
Well, you're into some dark stuff, brother.
That's the 4Ds. Anyways, is that all you know there?
Yeah, that's what I know. You know
That's a
something?
pretty good. Yeah, I know something about
Okay.
this movie here. I know something about the people under the stairs.
Yeah.
Doesn't change even with the accent. But so this movie here, The People Under the Stairs, was
Yeah.
actually based on a true story. Now the whole thing ain't true,
Whoa,
of course.
what?
Here, now listen, you shut up over there. Listen
Oh,
to me.
whoa.
Back in 1978,
78.
yeah, the big 7-8, ain't it great? 7-8 don't stay up late. 7-8 go bake me a cake.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, Rob Zombie.
Robert Zombie.
That's what it was. I forget what it was. Anyways, the people here. 1978. These two burglars. Similar situations. Two burglars going.
Hold on,
into
wait.
these
Now,
big-
are they real life burglars?
Yeah. This is the part of the base that this is the true part of the base that the story's on here.
Okay.
Okay. These two burglars go into this rich person's house. Okay. And while they're in there, they found two children locked in the basement.
What?
Yes.
Real life children.
Yeah, real children. Real offsprings of two people have been down there. They were locked in there, and they're like, So they called the police, ironically, and then of course they got the children out. But they were locking kids down there in the same situation that the mommy and daddy people in this movie are holding on, locking Alice and not letting her outside. So it's kind of based on that.
Oh, that's weird and crazy and weird.
Yeah, but that's crazy that you could take a horrible situation like that in Wes Craven, you get an idea from that, and bam, the people under the stairs.
It's the people under the stairs.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of all I know here. It's a little bit short here. There's not a lot to know about this movie. I guess you could say it's really straightforward here, but
real straightforward.
those are some good facts there.
Yeah, I like that. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Whoa, Mark. I didn't know any of those things until right now.
It's amazing of how much you can learn from this podcast.
Let me tell you something fun to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of you guys out there, you're fans of Pop-Tarts, correct?
Okay.
Pop-Tarts, right?
Yes. Pop-Tarts.
So what you do,
I mean Tart Pops.
yeah, Tart Pops. So any flavor. Now this is for the people. Well, you need a canine or a feline. Okay, if you have one of these in your house, or maybe you can find one out and about. I don't know. Most people have these in their home. You take a Pop-Tart, okay? You separate it, okay? So the top from the bottom.
Long ways or horizontal.
It doesn't matter. You get a piece maybe about the size of a postage stamp, okay? And there's like the little jelly.
Well, that's kind of hard, man. Why don't you get something like...
Oh, no. Hear me out.
Do it in quarters or something. Am I taking off a quarter of it? 2 quarters? 3 quarters? Or is it a quarter pounder? What is it?
About the size of a postage stamp, depending on the size of your dog. So you
Okay.
separate it. So you have one little piece of a Pop-Tart with jelly stuff on the other end. You get your animal who's begging you to get a piece of your Pop-Tart, and you give them the wish they want. And you stick that little piece of a Pop-Tart and stick it to the roof of their mouth and watch for the next 2 to 3 minutes. It'll be the funniest thing you've ever seen, because they'll just sit there.
I do the same thing because when we feed our dogs, like Trigger, the German Shepherd, she has allergies. Like this dog is allergic to life.
Allergies.
We have to buy her prescription, like the Abiquil stuff every month. Like seriously, like Cassandra went and paid $1,000 allergy test for this dog because it was getting ear infections and stuff. And they stopped the test 3/4 of the way through because she was getting so many hits on these allergies. Like it was ridiculous. Like she's allergic to animal hair, with her own hair. Almost. Like, I'm pretty sure. I'm not shitting you. Like she's allergic to humans. She's allergic to fucking everything. I'm pretty sure she's allergic to air. But anyway, we put peanut butter on a spoon. Okay? And we feed it. I just stick the 2 pills on it and she just licks it and she's gone. But we buy the creamy peanut butter, the real runny kind of peanut butter.
Yes.
And she licks it, and she'll lick for like 2 minutes straight. Just
Dude, after you give a dog peanut butter, they do not stop licking for like. It's seriously,
No.
they lick, and then they start licking other shit, thinking it tastes like peanut butter. Like they'll lick the couch, like, is this peanut butter too? It takes them a minute. We had this friend Chad. He used to tell us that he's like, he had these boxers. He was like, when my dogs fall asleep, I just tuck fruit snacks in their lip, and they just wake up like, oh, what the hell was that? And it was funny if it wouldn't have been as funny if it was a joke, but it was funny because I know he really did that, and I can just picture a dog waking up like, "What's that? That was delicious. What was that?" Because it'd probably be like halfway dissolved by the time.
Have you
they
ever
woke up.
done the? I think it's a zucchini, or it's like a long green vegetable.
Cucumber for the
Cucumber.
kitty cat?
Yes. Have you ever done the cucumber for a cat?
No, but I want to.
I want to do it. I think I've tried it one time, but they saw me coming, and I don't know why we had a cucumber, but we had one. But I've tried it before. It doesn't work for every cat.
No,
They
I
just
have
look at you like, fuck off. Like,
I have
get
a
away from
lazy
me.
cat. He's like a Garfield cat, so he wouldn't give a fuck. He'd try to eat it. He loves food. Mm-hmm. Everybody. There's people out here who are listening that have that one cat. That meows you to death until you fucking feed them. That
Oh, yeah.
fat cat, that one that even if they're not large, but they just have that like, you will feed me or I will ruin your morning and I will ruin your life. A hungry cat. Have you ever dealt with a cat in heat?
No, but
You remember
our
back in the
boy
day?
Cat, who was that? That was Jules, right?
Yeah. No. Remember in that girl I was staying in my apartment, she had that one cat that was going through heat. When I was
Yeah.
in shit, that cat would never shut up, dude.
No. That reminds me of because we got 3 cats. Our one boy cat, Bozo. I would used to, because that was my routine every morning. I would go just fill the cat's bowl and give him fresh water. He would wait until I woke up. He would be sitting there as soon as I get down. Meow. Meow, walking in front of me, like you know how they walk in front of you with steps. Like it's early in the morning, like
Yeah.
he's just sitting there in the step before you. Like I've almost broke my neck a couple times because it's a fucking cat. But
Just letting you know I'm hungry.
it wasn't about food though. It was about he wanted to play with the water from the sink of me filling the bowl. I have a video of it. It's him just going meow, taking a couple steps, looking back at me, meow, and he'd jump up on the sink, and he would just stare at the sink and wait for me to turn it on. It's to the point where I just turned it on and walked away for a couple minutes just because he would just sit there and bat at it. Like he loved water, but just having that cat just follow you everywhere until you do it.
Dude, they're persistent, aren't they? If they want something, they will
Cats
let you
don't
know.
fuck around, dude.
Dude, that's good stuff. There's a dog in this movie. Now, I will let you know there is a dog murder in this movie. Now,
Wait a minute. I thought no. Does
yeah,
he?
he kills his own dog. So he has
Oh,
this
that's right.
Rottweiler named Prince that he sends wild, and it's pretty funny because they actually end up electrocuting the dog too because he's biting on the Ving Rhames, and then young fool he grabs Ving Rhames' hand and then he goes and touches the doorknob, so it shocks the dog. But the man and woman, Fool and Alice, their adopted or stolen daughter, Fool and Alice are running off through the walls like with Roach running away, and they send Prince the dog in through the walls to find him, and eventually the guy starts shooting in the wall and he stabs into the wall and he stabs Prince, and the lady's like, "You killed Prince!" And it's really funny. It's very overacted but hilarious. And
Yeah,
he's
it
like,
always
"Oh!"
sucks. It always sucks. I don't like the death of the dogs.
No.
That always sucks. I know it's just a movie, but it's like fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You never
he
like
was
to
an
see a
evil
dog die.
dog, so that helps.
Well, he wasn't that. He was just protecting his house like any other dog. Can't be mad at him for that.
He may be a little past gone,
I don't think so.
but he was a cute dog. I liked him. I didn't want him to die either. It was
But-
sad.
But a good thing about this episode here as we wrap up. As we did usually when we do episodes, we talk about really the whole movie through and through, but we haven't really touched base of this movie too much. Just because if you haven't seen this movie, I don't want to spoil the whole thing of you because it's really that enjoyable.
Yes, I agree.
Like this is a very you're gonna have a lot of fun watching this movie. I think this is gonna be one of your favorite horror movies.
Get
Or at
stoned
least
and watch
up
this.
there,
if
top
that's what you
10,
do.
top 20 if you're a person like Christian who fucking loves seeing everything on Shudder and all that crap. But we really didn't talk too much in depth about all the scenes and stuff like we usually do. But that's good because I don't want to spoil this whole movie for you because it's really a good one. And the people under the stairs rating Christian Ramey, what would you give this movie?
So that's what I was thinking about in my head. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 3 for casting. It wasn't too scary, so I'm going to give it a 1.5 because I think it definitely deserves that half there. Because when I was younger, it definitely had creepy elements. There was just a lot of suspense before you found out what the fuck was downstairs and what those people were. You just didn't really know, and then it was kind of creepy. So I'm going to give it a 1.5. And then the kills, there's just not enough in there, and you don't really see them aside from Ving Rhames being shot. So the kills, we're going to have to go with a half a point. A half a point on kills. Because that death of Ving Rhames was very comical, though. And you know, Spence, he did die. We just didn't see it. It was off camera. So we'll give that a half a point. So that bumps us up to 5 points there. And then the final category of do I fucks with it worth 1 point? I do. So we'll say 6 out of 10. Now, that doesn't mean that this is just a scale, in my opinion, of what a perfect horror movie could be. But that doesn't mean I do not love this movie. The fucks with it category is really my final scale. If you're wondering, like, does Christian recommend this movie? The fucks with it is that point. If I don't fucks with it, it could still be a 9 out of 10 movie.
Sure.
But I just might not like it.
It's a horror rating, basically, is what you're saying. They're like the 3 basic elements of what a horror movie makes a horror movie is the casting, the kills, and what's the other thing?
So casting, kills, and fear.
Yeah,
Does
casting,
it scare
kills, and
you?
fear. Like, well, those are the three amigos in a horror movie.
I agree.
But that's why I was saying at the beginning of this episode is like this is an episode that I showed my little brother and sister when they're like, I think the oldest one was in 8th grade, the youngest one was maybe 5th or 6th grade. Like
So we have a segue alert here. Segue horror movie.
Yeah.
That's the bridge. It could lead your kids.
Yeah, it's a bridge with railings, so you don't fall in. You'll be fine. But,
yeah, and especially with the goofy shit kids see now.
It's fun for the whole family if you watch it. I think if you're gonna watch a horror movie, okay.
Yeah,
you got the fun element, you got the scary element, you got the creepy element, you got the Robin Hood element. It's got all the things that you're gonna love in a movie. In this movie,
you get yourself some good food with your significant other, maybe a little wine, or maybe you throw a couple cubes in a glass with a little bit of whiskey. You know, maybe some liquor, or maybe you just roll up a doobie and get really stoned. You will have fun with this movie as my partner, not my life partner. You know, you've got great qualities, Mark, but just my podcast partner at the moment. At the moment.
Okay, so we're not friends.
I agree 100% with what he's saying. Nothing too serious, not a great thinking piece. 6 out of 10 is what I'll give it total. And like I said, I really do fucks with it. Definitely recommend the movie, okay? Now, if you boys and girls have movies maybe that you want to recommend our way, something you want us to watch. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you send us something super small and independent, not saying I won't watch it or put an episode to it, but we really are trying to tackle the pillars of horror, the things that kind of sculpted the genre we talk about. Now, we could talk about TV series, which we will, but with us being so loose before with season 1 and with the YouTube channel, I'm really trying to button up and make sure that we cover some of these main movies. As silly as they may sound, people don't know our opinions on them until you have stuff out there for you. So I want to get a lot of our major ones out there, but I want to hear which ones of those that you guys may want to recommend. So if you want to get a hold of us, definitely you can find us on our Twitter, and our handle is @horrorsloppy, HORRORSLOPPY. You can get a hold of us there. Also on our YouTube channel, Sloppy Horror Podcast. You could send us a message there on our Patreon as well. You can find us, and we will have some exclusive content out soon for that. But as of now, we're probably going to just stick with season 2, cranking some stuff out, and then maybe we'll have some VIP episodes for any of you guys interested. So yeah, get a hold of us. And also too, I mean, you guys can have the email too, sloppyhorrorpodcast@outlook.com. Any recommendations, anything you want to tell us. If you say, hey, fuck you, Mark and Christian, that's fine too. We kind of like those. Gets me going. So yeah, get a hold of us. Say something. Ozark Mark likes it.
Yeah, tell me what you're wearing, too. Nobody is doing that yet. I don't care if you give us a review, a comment, hate mail, whatever it is. You have to tell me what you're wearing. I think that'd be hilarious.
Absolutely.
I hate your guys' podcast. This is stupid. I'm wearing blue jeans, a white shirt, and sandals.
I'm wearing a snap-on hat. No, seriously though, guys, we do appreciate the feedback, and if you guys have listened, from the beginning, we very much appreciate you guys. Convention season's coming out. We will be out and about. So if you're at these horror conventions, you will find us. We want to hit the major ones around the country. You will see us there. The haunted house season will be out there. You'll see us there too. So I'm very excited for that. New episodes will be out every Monday. And then also, YouTube fans, don't worry. We will have some video up to back up these audio episodes as well for you ADHD listeners like myself who need a little bit more interaction sometimes. So, hell yeah, man. It's my birthday. People under the stairs, Ozark Mark.
Woo!
I love this.
The people under
I
the
love
stairs.
this. Oh, did you add a little music to us on our outro? I like this. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. I'm Christian Ramey.
Oh, I'm sorry, I zoned out. What'd you say?
I said I'm Christian Ramey.
Yes, you are.
And you are.
Oh, I'm Ozark Mark.
And we're fucking out of here.
Goodbye.
Have a good one.